I'm starting to believe that I probably would not survive hide and seek, especially around this time of year with the lovely pollen out. Because Lord knows by the second day I'd be sneezing so much that I wouldn't even get a chance to do anything. I'd just be all the way bent over, just coughing my lungs out. So that's exactly the kind of feeling I got going into this movie. Hello, my name is Jake from Talk Too Much. I'm here to talk about Ready or Not 2. Here I come. And this was a kind of exciting sequel. I was a big fan of the first movie here, and after hearing all the early reviews and seeing the cast with the stat cast, you got Elijah Wood, Samara Weaving returning, Catherine Newton being added to the deal, and a whole bunch of others. I was really excited about this film. It really had my attention, and so after the first one, you kind of have that question of, is this really a necessary sequel, or is this something that we can actually expand on? And that's what everybody was asking, and so here are all my thoughts I have here. This is pretty much Grace, Samara Weaving character. This is step right after the whole mansion scene in the first Ready or Not film. And this movie, I really was curious how this could go because it didn't really make sense with the trailers. I'm like, this is the day after. How are we doing a whole second round of hide and seek with all these characters? And then going into it, they give you an explanation as to why. And I gotta say, the explanation kind of makes sense. The gist of it is that all these councilmen and the people, of course, or the family from the previous movie, they're all satanic worshippers. They're all a part of a cult. They need someone to be the head councilman of the whole entire group. And if you are the head councilman of the whole entire group, then you basically control the world. And what Samara Weaving's character did was take that lead person out to where it left the question, okay, we need someone here to kind of fill this seat in, or else we got some issues going on. Here's what I'll start with the positives. I think everybody that was casted did phenomenal. I felt every single energy that was brought to them into this film. I think Radio Silence brought it out of them a lot. Kind of get with the program and understanding the whole hunt versus hunted kind of aspect of it. I felt it was great. I thought Elijah Wood was really good for exposition dumping. That's pretty much what his whole character is he's going to tell you, yes, that goes with the rules. No, we can't do that with the rules. No, we must do this with the rules. I guess you can do this with the rules because it's not technically written down. So, he was a good positive fit. I felt like his character was very well. They casted the job very well for him. I thought Samara Weaving coming back around with around two of this, it kind of made her character a little bit funnier. Because she's just already so done with this, and in the very beginning you can clearly see that she does not want to be a part of this. So all that whole attitude of just not caring anymore, it gets brought out a lot with her, which makes a lot of the scenes funnier. And I'll go into another positive with that is this movie had a lot of good comedic relief, I would say. Radio Silence's thing, I guess you would say, with movies like Abigail and the first Ready or Not, they tend to use their explosives on people quite a bit, and for some it can be very tiring. As for me, I didn't get tired of it at all. It actually was used very perfectly to where I got a good laugh out of it, and some of the script writing was great. It was really good comedic moments placed at the right exact time. So I would say if it probably went a little too more funnier, then there would be some issues, but overall I thought it gave me quite a bit of laughs. And yes, the violence is upped a lot. Some more scenes intense than others. There's one really gnarly kill that happens in the very beginning of the movie involving, I believe, a dishwasher or a washing machine. And by the outcome of it, you can feel gross. You can feel a little gross under your skin watching that. So they very much took into consideration, okay, let's expand this, let's make it bigger, which they very much did, and let's kind of go forward with that. Now, here's where I am a little mixed on some things. I think the big mix is that Samara Weaving's character with Catherine Newton, I don't feel like they had the best relationship going into it, or they didn't really ease it out or smooth it out much better. Not to say both of them didn't do a good job in their respective roles, they did. It's just, it felt like the connection wasn't really there. Like, it seems like there would be a little bit more, I guess, than just the general story of what happened between the two. I don't want to spoil anything. And so I was kind of a little let down about that. I would think that, especially you're playing life and death here, and you got Samara who's been through this before, now having to try and keep after her little sister the whole time while doing this, it can create a lot of good tense moments. But then there's also just not much dialogue wise between the two, other than this happened, you did this, I'm aware I did this is why I did this, and that's pretty much it. It does get resolved kind of by the end, and you could say they do have a better relationship, but it's not like anything crazy. It's not like one person said something that would just completely change the feeling between the both of them. Nothing too crazy like that. Another mixed thing I do have is with the rules. Now, they put a lot of lore behind the second film. Kind of, they had to give a reasoning as to why it exists. And I was just thinking about this after I watched this film. I'm like, really, nowadays you don't see many original ideas, and it needed to kind of earn its staying and why it's here. And that, I felt like, with the very ending of this movie, it didn't really earn its stay. And that's where I will get into my negatives. And my biggest negative being the last 20 minutes of this movie, it stretches its line a lot. It felt like everything that it was building up to just all came crashing down like a deck of cards in the last 20 minutes. They figure out this loophole, and with this loophole, they were trying to make it to where they could have a different ending than just surviving till dawn. And it felt so like it was kind of told beforehand and brought back in, but the way it's used is just very odd. I didn't really, it changed the game a lot in a way I wasn't that much of a fan of. The ending of it and the way it all went with all the explosions and stuff, it just didn't really work with me. I felt like they lost their reasoning behind having this ending, or behind having the sequel with the ending. That is what hurt this film so much. And so I could really tell that either they were on a time crunch, or they were just they had so many ideas ahead that they wanted to put for the first act of this movie and the middle act. They were kind of like, all right, for the ending, we're just going to scribble this all out here, and we're just going to end it like that. It feels awkward. It feels very, very awkward the way they left it. I thought it was cool. There's one CGI moment that I was not really a big fan of. But the idea behind it was cool. They just kept wanting to use explosives and have more people exploding, and I get it. It's just the way it went out. I wasn't really that much of a fan of it. Overall, if you are a fan of the first film, I do think you will enjoy this sequel. I don't think it's bad by no means, and I think majority of people who at least like the first one are going to say it's a good sequel, because that's what it is. It's a good sequel. I only had those little tiny complaints here. It's a fun movie to watch. It is definitely something to go into completely blind, because after I've seen the trailer and going into this, there's a lot of pinpoints where I kind of knew where the story was going, and that I didn't really like that. But it wasn't too much of an issue. Definitely go see it out in theaters, or if you're not really that much of a fan of the franchise, just wait for it to come out in streaming.